Hello, beautiful souls, and welcome. Today I have a very specific message for a very specific group of people. And I guess I can summarize it a little bit up front as this grasping for certainty in times of interchange. And I'm talking more so at the beginning of awakening. And in another sense, I think I'm also talking to a specific group of professionals because I feel the burden within a certain subgrouping is even more harsher. And this grouping, I think it's almost like the science based, the tech industry, engineers, medical professionals. And it's not just limited to that, right? I am also thinking teachers. And why it is so is because consciousness has been rising. And without consciousness, our senses have been expanding and have, in some cases, have just turned on. And with that heightened sensitivity, it's almost like we're getting a little bit more clairvoyant, where you're seeing so much more. So even if before you saw through the politics and the bureaucracy and all this stuff, now you're seeing that at a much heightened state. So much so that you can also see people lying, right? So the people show up, they speak these words, but you see way behind that, you see their intent behind their showing up and presenting it in a different way. And more so, maybe your emotions are going crazy. You're surprising yourself how you are reacting to certain things, because you're coming to this point where it's like, well, this is enough. This is unbearable. You can no longer tolerate certain situations or certain behavior, certain speech, certain non-collaborations, things like that. Because, again, your morality has shifted. Your truth, all those points of equilibrium have shifted into a new bracket of consciousness. And now it's like you're craving the collaboration, you're craving harmony, you're craving truth. You can't be sitting in another meeting where it's like you see the problem. Not only that, the problem is easy, but for you to come to a hint of the problem in an acceptable manner, you have to, go around this bush. And once everybody arrived at that conclusion, then you go to the next bush and you go through 5 different bushes to arrive at a hint of the problem. And then once everybody arrives at it, and it's okay, then arriving at an agreeable solution, that's something else, okay? And so, especially when you have a passion, especially when you love what you're doing, you're craving this, can we just come together as humans with thicker skin so we can move through these weird fakeness and just tackle the problem? What's the big deal? I feel you. I'm so with you. And maybe I should introduce myself on that note. My name is Anka, and now I do energy work. I am an intuitive. I am a psychic. I'm getting more into that space, and for sure I'm a mystic. But for me to sit here, because see, I had this message for a year and a half, but today it's different because I am standing in my certainty of who I am. And it's been a trip because my background is mechanical engineering. My specialty is project management. I've worked 16 years in the water industry, which is pretty close to the oil and gas industry. And because this pressure, it's kind of like steam, right? Once these changes start happening within you, if you don't let it out and you don't let this unfolding happen, then the pressure will get so high. And I'm not saying that it will for you exactly like it did for me, but that's kind of, maybe that's the message. There's another way. And when the steam pops that lid off, things happen. And we're not just talking about some spirituality mumbo jumbo. There are forces that are happening within us. And this wave that I'm seeing, the pressure of the message of this collective that is coming into my meditations is saying it's time to share these messages. That momentum of the wave is going to keep going. So whatever pressure you are feeling right now, it's only going to intensify. The other problem that these professions are facing is that who are you going to talk to? There is no opening up. There is no sharing what is going on internally because the lanes of what is acceptable are so narrow that you're going to be out. So the risk is just too high. And so one of the solutions that I've been guided to is it is still sharing, but there are levels to it. And one of that is to come into this level of safety with another human being, but that human being has to be part of the club. If you're not in Fight Club, don't talk about Fight Club. That's the first rule, right? And but still reaching out to those people, because by now you have enough clarity to know, to pick up, right? Like, who are the people within Fight Club, and start dropping hints and still coming into a relationship of safety. And that safety, unfortunately, at this point in our unfolding, it has to be tested, because you have to know that level of safety can be trusted. So it has to be proven. But once that foundation is laid out, then that's good. It's the first layer of that foundation. Great. Then the next layer of that foundation is coming into this acceptance level that, oh my God, what is happening to you is actually real. Acknowledging that with another human being is a release that steam can let out, because that unfolding that is happening through the changes within are very real hard forces that if you keep going asking for their validation, they're going to mess with your stability on the outside. And we don't have to do that yet. We can allow the unfolding of you to happen and then work on that other structure on the outside. But right now, we're only talking inner clarity, inner workings. And number 3, for whatever reason, there is this phenomena of the witness. And I think years ago, this witness was really like a teacher to guide you through these changes. And it was, esoteric teachings, and there were like, establishments, or even the religious establishments. But you had these guides to take you through those stages of growth. I don't know if those are even appropriate at this time anymore, because there has been so much mistrust with organizations and with this idea of the teacher. And more so, I don't even know that that is a needed thing anymore, because the level of consciousness that is there and the available material, it's almost like we can only rely or on our own alignment to our authenticity. And yet, this idea of the witness is still necessary for, I don't know, it's just a phenomena. Even in healing, many people require a witness to their healing. Is it necessary? No. When you can become your own witness and you can observe yourself, then no, it is not needed for somebody else to be your witness. But the persona, the archetype of the witness, the energy of the witness, yes, I do believe it's still necessary. It's just a thing. It's a law. It's a mechanism through which expansion happens in the universe, because it's almost like that witness is holding the space for you. It's kind of creating also safety bubble for you to emerge. And once that emergence is created, somebody has to declare, it is so. That expansion has indeed happened. And so to me, that structure of proven safety, acknowledgement, or arrival of acceptance, and the witness, to me, all these functions have to happen within this wave, within this very specific level of consciousness. And I'm just looking at my own unfolding of how I had to go through that. And it was kicking and screaming to get me into this identity, right? This identity now has to be very loose. It has to be very impeccable. It has to be the witness for the unfolding of the other people within the same wave. I just happen to be a little bit ahead of you. And so my experience within this wave, to me, is just one example of how this unfolding is happening. And the conclusion of this certainty is that the only certainty that you do have is within your ability, your confidence to go through change. That's it, because change is imminent, it's constant. So there is no certainty in the external. The certainty is within who you are, coming to the arrival, coming to the recognition of you and your abilities within. And reaching that certainty is a level of integration. It's almost like the wave, this spiritual expansion is asking us, you need to become mystics. The level of skill within awareness in the past that people have reached, in the monasteries, secluded in the mountains, caves, whatever, it's almost coming to the mainstream. I mean, almost that level where it's like, you want to go through these changes, you need to up your skill at a much higher level. It's just what it is. And the interesting part is that you are your own teacher. Actually, we within this wave are our own teachers. We are our own students, because the only truth is us. It's this authenticity. And it's because so much has failed us, right? The society, governments, all these structures that were supposed to be for the people, be for the increased quality of life, for the people, for our children, have really betrayed us. And including teachers, including the occult, right? Everything that has been established for a higher good has been sort of crumbled into something so dark and so distorted. And in a way, it's also beautiful to work through the strength to cultivate such a authenticity and authority within ourselves. And it's almost like the fastest path to enlightenment that we can possibly take, except that we are being squeezed into it. So it's more difficult, but apparently we have what it takes. And so my own guidance system has been on me to be more out there, be transparent, authentic, but also be in reach. And I had a hard time with that because it's like, okay, how am I in reach? What platforms? But I don't want programs. I don't want subscriptions. I don't want all these things that have been established. It just felt like office hours. I just want to be available, and it has to be by donation. It has to be accessible. And so that's what I'm doing. For those of you who you don't have anybody around you to turn to and say, am I going crazy? What is happening to me? Especially if you have access to the Akash, past lives can come through, memories, and it can be downright scary. Things can happen in so many ways. Not having anybody to talk to, it is hell. It is terrible because and the burden is not only that, but the burden is growing with the higher your consciousness is expanding. So I get you, I understand. And that's why, okay, let's see where this goes. I don't have more than this thing, office hours. And feel free to reach out. I have them in 30-minute increments. We can do, and then you can book 2 of those or whatever. And I'm kind of riding the wave with you, with me, all of it, trying to make sense of what this is. Because, well, I mean, in my lifetime, I haven't had the example. I don't have an example what we are creating. I have no idea where we're going, and none of us are given more than this is what's in front of you right now. Several reasons for that, because what I'm sensing and feeling is that this thing is much bigger than we can possibly imagine. And this is a personal journey. Yes, it is a kind of a lone journey because these transformations can only be done within the loneliness, but it doesn't have to be an alone journey. And that's exactly it. We have to realize that this mission, whatever these changes are, we are changing the fabric of reality, which also means the way we do business, our schooling system, our the health industry, entertainment. I mean, everything is being up for review and up for change. And we are in this mission together. It cannot be a personal project. I don't see it as a mission. I see it as a project. I call it a project. I don't necessarily know what the project is. I just feel the intensity. I'm taking action with what I can do today. And so here I stand with you. It's tough, I'm not going to lie, but I also know that the depth of enjoyment, everything is so much deeper on a beautiful level as well, that it is so worth it. And so I'm leaving you with this. Feel free to reach out. I'm sending you love. I'm sending you strength. Happy integration. Till the next one.